Hi, I'm Dr. Crystal Collier, and I study how risky behavior young people are faced with today affect the growing brain. To really get this stuff, you first gotta know your neuro. That is, your neuro whereabouts. If you know and can navigate your neuro whereabouts, you'll understand how your brain develops, what your brain can and can't do, and how to protect it while it grows. Let's get started. Starting at about age 12, I made some really bad decisions and tried alcohol and drugs. That led to other risky behaviors and negative consequences. By the time I was 18, when that goofy picture was taken of me, I started making better choices and I reached out and asked for help. But I still had tons of guilt and shame about what I had done to myself and my family. So I started studying the brain to help me understand why this great, smart kid made such bad decisions. My favorite brain researcher, Dr. Lawrence Steinberg, said, "A teenager has a well-developed accelerator, but only a partly developed brake." Well, what do you think this means? Do you agree or disagree? Well, what he means is that there are two phases of neurodevelopment you need to know about. The first one, from birth to about age 12, is when we grow 200 billion brain cells called neurons. Puberty kicks in the second phase, when we lose 50% of the brain cells we just grew. It's like we get this big chunk of clay in the first phase of brain development. Then we start carving and sculpting it during the second phase until you get the masterpiece, your fully developed adult brain. Okay, but dude, why do we lose half of our brain cells during phase 2? Like, aren't they perfectly good neurons? What do you think? Well, we've got to make room for two very important things, myelin and dendrites. This is a cool graphic of a brain cell, or a neuron. Myelin is this awesome fatty tissue that helps the electrical impulses move down the cell. It thickens during phase 2. The thicker your myelin, the faster thinker you are. The second thing that needs room to grow are dendrites. These tentacle-like things that reach out and connect to other cells. Dendrites are my favorite brain structure because they are literally the hardware of learning. Every time you learn something new or practice a skill, you grow dendrites, creating networks of cells in your brain. These are pictures of actual neurons as they grow from an infant all the way up to age 2. Check out how thick those networks got. So, as your brain needs room for myelin and dendrites, how does the brain decide which cells to keep and which cells to get rid of? Well, the brain has a rule, the use it or lose it rule, which means the cells you use are the ones that stay. The cells you don't are the ones that you get rid of to make more room for myelin and dendrites in the part of your brain that is growing. This part is called the prefrontal cortex, or the frontal lobe, right behind your forehead and about halfway up your skull. The frontal lobe is where your brakes are, where good judgment and decision-making occur. But it's not fully developed until around the age of 25. On the other hand, the limbic system, the survival, fight or flight part of your brain, located deep inside your head, is fully developed by the time you're 12 years old. This part of the brain is known as the accelerator because it's reactive and impulsive. But your frontal lobe is the CEO of your brain and body because it's in charge of executive functioning skills. During the first phase of brain development, we grow our basic executive functioning skills. You know, the ones we need to get up on time, remembering our lunch, get organized for school. and do our homework. During the second stage of brain development, we grow our higher level executive functioning skills. These are the ones we need to get up and out of our parents' house and become fully self-supporting adults with good relationship skills. Okay, but hold on a second. If our limbic system's accelerator is mature by 12, but our frontal lobe's brakes aren't fully online until we're 25, what does that mean? Well, it means that adolescents are more likely to take risks because they're more impulsive, aggressive, and they're more vulnerable to peer pressures and more likely to engage in, unfortunately, a variety of high-risk behavior. No judgment here. We're all on our own path to maturity, including me. I made some choices before my frontal lobe had a chance to develop. What about you? What risky behavior have you made a bad choice about? What were the consequences? Now that you know your neuro whereabouts, what will your code be? Your own rules, especially about risky behavior. How will you know when your limbic system's about to take over? How can you keep your frontal lobe on and follow the use it or lose it rule to grow long networks of neurons for executive functioning skills? How will you protect your frontal lobe while it's growing and developing its brakes?